I built Marshall Construction from nothing. Started with a pickup truck and a toolbox in 1992, turned it into a $47 million empire by the time I hit 55. Every brick, every contract, every dollar, mine. The office sat on the corner of Elm and 3rd, a renovated warehouse I'd personally redesigned. Exposed beams, polished concrete floors, glass-walled conference rooms, modern but honest, like me, or like I used to be, before I learned what my own son really thought of me. It was a Tuesday in March when things started to crack. I remember because Evelyn had made pot roast the night before, and I'd taken leftovers for lunch. Simple detail, but those are the things that stick when your world starts falling apart. Ryan walked into my office without knocking. He'd been doing that more often lately, little power moves that I'd ignored because he was my son. 28 years old, MBA from a decent state school, married to Grace for 3 years. I'd given him a VP position 2 years ago, thinking it was time to start the transition. Biggest mistake of my life. "We need to talk about restructuring," he said, not sitting down. I looked up from the Henderson contract. "Restructuring what?" "The company, the way you run things. It's outdated, Dad." I set down my pen. "Outdated how?" "Everything. The client management system is from 2015. We're still using paper bids for half our contracts. Grace and I have been looking at the numbers." "Grace has been looking at our numbers?" He shifted his weight. "She has an economics degree. She's been helping me understand where we're losing efficiency." "Your wife, who works in retail management, has been reviewing Marshall Construction's financials." "Don't do that dismissive thing. She's smart, smarter than you give her credit for." I leaned back in my chair. "I'm not dismissing anyone. I'm asking why my daughter-in-law has access to proprietary company information. Because I'm a VP. Because I'm your son. Because this company is going to be mine someday, and I need to understand what I'm inheriting." That word. Inheriting. "Sit down, Ryan." "I'm fine standing." I said sit down. He sat. The defiance in his eyes was new. Or maybe it had always been there, and I'd been too proud to see it. "What exactly did you and Grace find in those numbers?" I asked. "Inefficiencies, overpayment to legacy contractors, client relationships based on personal loyalty instead of competitive bidding. You're leaving money on the table because you're too attached to doing things the old way. The old way that built this company, the old way that pays your salary. That's exactly the problem." He leaned forward. "You think loyalty and handshakes matter more than profit margins. The market doesn't work like that anymore." "The market." I picked up my pen again, rolled it between my fingers. "Tell me something. How many of those legacy contractors have been with us since the beginning? How many have saved our ass when a project went sideways? How many have worked through holidays and weekends because I called them personally?" "That's sentimental. That's business, real business, not spreadsheet business. And that's why we're plateauing. We should be growing 15-20% annually. Instead, we're stuck at 5% because you won't modernize." I studied my son's face. Saw his mother's cheekbones, my father's stubborn jaw. Saw something else, too. Ambition without foundation. Hunger without understanding what he was hungry for. "We'll talk about this later," I said. "I have the Henderson meeting at 2. Grace thinks we should bring in a consultant. Someone who can do an objective analysis." "No?" "Dad." I said no. This conversation is over. He stood up fast enough to knock his chair back an inch. "Fine. But you can't avoid this forever. Things are changing whether you like it or not." He walked out. Didn't close the door behind him. I sat there for 10 minutes, pot roast going cold in its Tupperware container, staring at the Henderson contract without seeing it. Evelyn had warned me 6 months ago. She'd noticed the way Grace talked to Ryan, the way she steered conversations at family dinners, the way she'd ask pointed questions about the business, always framed as casual interest. "She's ambitious," Evelyn had said. Nothing wrong with that. But she's ambitious for Ryan, not with him. There's a difference. I'd brushed it off. Now I was starting to see what she meant. The Henderson meeting went fine. Jim Henderson and I had been doing business for 12 years. He wanted an addition on his commercial property downtown, and he trusted me to handle it right. We shook hands on a $1.2 million contract without either of us looking at our phones once. That's how real business works. I got home at 6:30. Evelyn was in the kitchen, jazz playing low on the speaker system I'd installed last Christmas. She looked up when I came in, read my face immediately. "What happened?" I told her about Ryan, about Grace reviewing our financials, about the word inheriting. She set down her knife, she'd been chopping vegetables, and wiped her hands on a towel. "I told you." "I know. 6 months ago, I told you." "I know, Evelyn." So what are you going to do about it? I sat down at the kitchen table. We'd bought it 20 years ago at an estate sale. Solid oak, scarred and honest. I don't know yet. You need to know, because this isn't going to get better on its own. He's my son, and he's trying to push you out of your own company. He didn't say that. He didn't have to. She came over, stood behind my chair, put her hands on my shoulders. Victor, I love Ryan, but he's not ready, and Grace is pushing him into something he can't handle. What do you want me to do? Fire my own son? I want you to protect what you built. I want you to see this clearly. I put my hand over hers. I am seeing it clearly. That's the problem. We ate dinner in near silence. Evelyn tried to make conversation about her book club, about her sister's upcoming visit, but neither of us had the energy to pretend everything was fine. After dinner, I went into my office, the small room off the living room where I kept my personal files, and started going through documents. Partnership agreements, corporate structure, asset distribution, succession planning that I'd drafted 5 years ago, when I'd still believed Ryan would grow into the role naturally. I pulled up our financial software on my laptop, started reviewing accounts. 20 minutes in, I found the first discrepancy. A $15,000 transfer to an external account I didn't recognize. 3 weeks later, another $22,000. Then $18,000, all authorized by Ryan's login credentials. I sat back, felt something cold settle in my chest. I spent the next 4 hours digging, found a pattern of transfers going back 8 months, total $347,000, all to the same external account, all authorized by Ryan, approved by our system because he had VP-level access. At midnight, Evelyn came in. Come to bed. Look at this. She looked. Took her 30 seconds to understand what she was seeing. Call the police, she said. He's our son. He's stealing from you. I need to understand why first. Victor, please, just give me a couple days to figure this out. She looked at me for a long moment, then nodded. 2 days. Then we're dealing with this properly. I didn't sleep that night. Lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to Evelyn's breathing, thinking about all the times I'd defended Ryan, all the times I'd made excuses for him, all the times I'd convinced myself he just needed more time, more guidance, more trust. Thursday morning, I called my financial advisor. Linda Brenner. She'd been handling our accounts for 15 years. Victor, good to hear from you. What can I do? I need you to freeze Ryan's access to all company accounts. Effective immediately. Silence. Then, is there a problem? There's a problem. Can you do it? Of course, but you'll need to sign some paperwork. Can you come in this afternoon? I'll be there at 2. I hung up, pulled up the external account information again, ran a search on the routing number. It belonged to a small business bank in the next county. The account name, RG Ventures LLC. RG. Ryan and Grace. I called my lawyer next. Tom Mitchell. We'd known each other since high school. He'd handled every contract, every legal issue, every piece of paperwork for Marshall Construction since day one. Tom, I need to know something. If a VP of my company has been making unauthorized transfers, what are my options? How much are we talking about? $347,000. He whistled. That's felony territory. Who's the VP? Ryan. Long pause. Jesus, Victor, are you sure? I'm looking at the transfers right now. 8 months of them. You need to document everything. Don't confront him. Don't tell him you know. Document, preserve evidence, and we'll figure out the next steps. I'm not prosecuting my son. Then you need to figure out what you are going to do, because this doesn't go away just because you ignore it. I spent Thursday documenting everything, printed transaction records, downloaded account histories, created a timeline, built a case against my own son like he was a stranger. Friday morning, Ryan came into my office again. This time, he knocked. Can we talk? Sure. He sat down, looked uncomfortable. I was thinking about what I said Tuesday. Maybe I came on too strong. Maybe. I just want what's best for the company, for all of us. And what's best is bringing in consultants, cutting ties with our contractors, modernizing everything I've built. Not everything, just updating the processes that need it. I watched him, saw the calculation behind his eyes. He was testing me, trying to see if I'd roll over or push back. Tell me about RG Ventures, I said. His face went blank for just a second. Then he recovered. What about it? It's your company, yours and Grace's. It's a side project, completely separate from Marshall. Is it? Because I'm seeing a lot of Marshall money going into RG accounts. He stood up. I have VP authorization. Those were legitimate business expenses. $347,000 in business expenses to a company I've never heard of for projects I never approved. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You're so controlling you can't even. Get out. What? Get out of my office. Now. He stared at me. You can't just. I can. I will. And if you're still standing here in 10 seconds, I'm calling security. He left, slammed the door hard enough to rattle the glass. I sat there breathing hard, heart pounding, thinking about everything that had just broken between us. Everything that maybe had been broken for a long time, and I just refused to see it. Evelyn called at lunch. I heard Ryan left early. What happened? I confronted him about the money. And he tried to justify it, said it was legitimate business expenses. What are you going to do? I'm going to end this, one way or another. That afternoon, I met with Linda at her office, signed the paperwork freezing Ryan's account access. She didn't ask questions, just processed it efficiently. You should know, she said as I was leaving. He tried to make a transfer this morning. $75,000. The system flagged it for review, which is why I called you. Where was it going? Same account as the others. I drove home taking the long way, past the first property I'd ever developed, an apartment complex on the south side built in 1995. It looked good, well-maintained, solid. I'd done that, built something that would last. Now my son was trying to tear it down from the inside. Evelyn met me at the door. Ryan called. He's furious. Says you're freezing him out. I froze his account access. He knows. He said you're destroying the family over nothing. Nothing. $347,000 is nothing. He's spinning this as you being paranoid and controlling. Grace is backing him up. They're calling it elder abuse. I laughed. Couldn't help it. Elder abuse. It's not funny, Victor. No, it's not. I went into the kitchen, poured myself a bourbon. First drink I'd had in 6 months. But it's almost impressive. How fast he flipped this around. What are you going to do? I took a long drink. Felt the burn. I'm going to destroy them. Before we go any further, hit the hype button, take a second to subscribe and like the video, and it really helps the channel grow. And tell us in the comments, what would you do in this situation? Saturday morning, I woke up with a plan forming. Not fully developed yet, but the outline was there, like a blueprint in my head, waiting for me to fill in the details. Evelyn was already up, sitting at the kitchen table with coffee and the newspaper. She looked at me when I came in. You look like you slept. 3 hours. Enough. Victor, I need you to do something for me. Don't ask questions yet. Just trust me. She set down her coffee. What? Call Ryan and Grace. Tell them you want to have dinner tonight. Here, family dinner. Tell them I'm ready to talk things out reasonably. Are you? No, but they need to think I am. She studied my face. What are you planning? Something that needs to happen in front of witnesses. We spent the morning preparing. Evelyn made her famous lasagna, Ryan's favorite since he was 8 years old. I set the dining room table properly with the good china we saved for holidays. Made everything look like a genuine peace offering. Ryan called it too. Mom says you want to talk? I do. About what? About moving forward. About finding a solution that works for everyone. Pause. You froze my accounts. We'll talk about that tonight. 6 o'clock? Another pause. Longer. Fine. We'll be there. They arrived at 6:15. Grace was wearing a designer dress that probably cost $800. Ryan was in business casual, looking wary. They both hugged Evelyn, then turned to me with matching expressions of guarded suspicion. Thanks for coming, I said. Mom said you wanted to talk, Ryan replied. I do, but let's eat first. Your mother went to a lot of trouble. Dinner was tense. Grace complimented the lasagna 3 times, which meant she was nervous. Ryan barely ate. I made small talk about the Henderson project, about Evelyn's book club, about anything except what we were all thinking about. Finally, over coffee, Grace broke. So, are we going to discuss this, or are we going to pretend everything's fine? We're going to discuss it, I said. But first, I need you both to understand something. I built Marshall Construction from nothing. 32 years of work. Every decision I made, every risk I took, was calculated to build something lasting. Something I could be proud of. We know, Dad. I'm not finished. I gave you a VP position because I believed you were ready. I trusted you with access to accounts, with authority over projects, with representing this company to clients. And you betrayed that trust. Grace's jaw tightened. That's not fair. $347,000 transferred to a personal account. How is that not betrayal? Those were legitimate business expenses. Ryan said. Consultants, research, development costs for modernizing our systems. Show me the receipts. What? Show me receipts for $347,000 in consulting fees. Show me contracts. Show me deliverables. They looked at each other. Grace spoke first. We don't have to justify our business decisions to you. You do when you're using my company's money. Your company? She leaned forward. That's the problem, isn't it? It's always your company, your decisions, your way. Ryan is a VP, but you treat him like an intern. You won't listen to new ideas. You won't modernize. You won't even consider that maybe, just maybe, there's a better way to do things. Grace, Ryan tried to interrupt, but she was rolling now. He's been trying for 2 years to update this company, to bring it into the current decade, but you shoot down every suggestion. You dismiss every idea. You act like nobody else could possibly understand what you've built. And then you wonder why he started looking at other options? Other options like stealing from me? It wasn't stealing. It was investing in the future. A future where Marshall Construction is actually competitive instead of coasting on legacy relationships and outdated practices. I looked at my son. Is that how you see it? He met my eyes. Yeah, it is. Then you're both more foolish than I thought. Ryan stood up. We don't have to listen to this. Sit down. No, we're leaving. Come on, Grace. I said sit down. My voice didn't rise, but something in it made him hesitate. You want to know what those legacy relationships are worth? What those outdated practices have built? Sit down and I'll tell you. Grace pulled Ryan back into his chair. They both waited. Tomorrow morning, I said, I'm going to start making phone calls. I'm going to call Jim Henderson and tell him that you two have been criticizing his project behind his back. I'm going to call the Brenner Company and mention that you've been pitching them on leaving us for a competitor. I'm going to call every major client we have and plant seeds of doubt about whether Marshall Construction is stable enough to continue serving them. You wouldn't, Grace started. I would, I will, unless we come to an understanding right now. What kind of understanding? Ryan asked. You return every dollar you took. You resign from your VP position. You have nothing more to do with Marshall Construction. And in exchange, I don't prosecute you for embezzlement. That's insane, Grace said. You're blackmailing your own son. I'm offering him a way out. Take it or don't. Ryan's face had gone red. You're doing this because you can't stand that I'm right, that your way doesn't work anymore, that I'm better at this than you are. You're better at theft, I'll give you that. He stood up again. This time Grace stood with him. We're done here. You want to destroy your own family over money? Fine, but don't expect us to just roll over. I don't expect anything from you anymore. That's the point. They left. Grace slammed the front door hard enough to make the windows shake. Evelyn sat still for a moment. Then, that went well. It went exactly as I expected. Which was? Now they know I'm serious. Now they'll panic. And when people panic, they make mistakes. She cleared the table slowly. I helped both of us moving in practice sink after 33 years of marriage. In the kitchen, she finally spoke again. You're really going to do it? Call the clients? I'm really going to do it. Victor, that could destroy the company. Not just Ryan, everything. It won't. Those clients trust me. They'll listen. And once they see what Ryan's been doing, they'll understand. And if they don't, then I'll deal with it. She washed dishes in silence. I dried them. Normal, domestic routine in the middle of a family war. Sunday morning, I started making calls. Jim Henderson first. Jim, it's Victor. Got a minute? Sure. What's up? I need to tell you something about the project. There have been some internal issues with my son, Ryan. He's been making unauthorized decisions, and I wanted you to hear it from me first. What kind of decisions? Questioning project costs. Suggesting we cut corners on materials. I've shut it down, but I wanted you to know. Pause. Is the project in trouble? Not at all. I'm handling everything personally now, but I thought you deserved to know what's been happening internally. I appreciate that, Victor. You know I trust you. If you're on it, I'm not worried. Thanks, Jim. 3 calls later, I'd planted the same seeds with 3 other major clients. Didn't lie, didn't exaggerate. Just mentioned that Ryan had been making unauthorized decisions, that I'd taken direct control, that everything was fine now. But seeds were planted. Doubt was sown. Monday morning, Ryan was waiting in the parking lot when I arrived at the office. He got out of his car as I parked. We need to talk? I thought we talked Saturday. Henderson called me yesterday. Said you told him I was trying to cut corners on his project. That's a lie. Is it? You want to modernize, cut costs, maximize efficiency? Sounds like cutting corners to me. You're sabotaging me. I'm protecting my clients from unauthorized decision-making. There's a difference. Bullshit. You're trying to destroy my reputation? I locked my car, started walking toward the building. He followed. Dad, seriously, we can work this out. I'll return the money. I'll explain everything. Too late. It's not too late. Just stop making those calls. Stop poisoning people against me. I stopped walking, turned to face him. You want to know what I think? I think you never had any intention of modernizing this company. I think you and Grace saw an opportunity to skim money, to build your own venture on my dime, and then you'd bail once you had enough capital. I think you're a thief and a liar, and the only reason I haven't called the police is because you're my son. His hand came up fast. I saw it coming, stepped back, caught his wrist before he could connect. Don't, I said quietly. We stood there, me holding his wrist, him breathing hard, both of us knowing we'd crossed a line we couldn't uncross. I let go. He stepped back. This isn't over, he said. No, it's not. He walked away, got in his car, sat there for a minute before driving off. I went inside, sat in my office, thought about how I'd just stopped my son from hitting me, thought about how that felt both terrible and inevitable. Linda called at 10. Victor, we have a problem. What? Grace Ventana came into the office this morning with a lawyer. She's claiming you've been mismanaging company funds. She wants a full audit. Let her have one. Everything's clean. That's not the point. She's making noise, saying you're losing your grip, saying Ryan's been trying to save the company from your incompetence. She's spinning. She's spinning effectively. I've already gotten 3 calls from clients asking if Marshall Construction is in financial trouble. I closed my eyes. Which clients? She told me. 2 of them were accounts I'd called yesterday. Grace had already gotten to them, flipped the script, made me look like the problem. What do you want me to do? Linda asked. Schedule the audit. Make it thorough. I want every transaction documented and justified. And Linda, make sure it includes a detailed examination of RG Ventures and where that $347,000 actually went. You got it. I spent the rest of Monday playing defense, calling clients, reassuring them, explaining that there were some internal family issues, but the company was solid. Most of them believed me, some didn't. By Tuesday, 2 small clients had pulled their contracts, not major accounts, but visible enough to hurt. Grace and Ryan were making noise on social media now, too. Nothing specific, just vague posts about family businesses and toxic leadership and knowing when it's time to step aside. Evelyn came into my office Tuesday night. I was working late, reviewing contracts. Come home? In a bit. Victor, come home now. I looked up, saw something in her face that made me close my laptop. At home, she poured us both wine. We sat in the living room, our living room, where we'd raised Ryan, where we'd celebrated every holiday and birthday and milestone for 28 years. I talked to Grace today, she said. What did she say? She said you're destroying yourself, that you're so obsessed with being right that you can't see you're burning down everything you built. She said Ryan's been trying to help, and you've turned it into a war. That's her version. What's yours? I told her. About the Monday confrontation, about the clients pulling contracts, about Grace's counter-narrative spreading through our business community. So what's the end game? Evelyn asked. I take back control. They leave. The company survives. And if it doesn't? Then I take them down with me. She looked at me for a long time. You've changed. They changed me. No, you're choosing this. You could walk away. You could let Ryan have the company. You could retire and be done with it. And let him destroy everything I built. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll surprise you. He already surprised me by stealing from me. She sighed, set down her wine. I love you, Victor, but I'm watching you turn into someone I don't recognize, someone who cares more about winning than about family. They made it about winning when they betrayed me. And you're making it worse by retaliating. What do you want me to do? I want you to stop. I want you to find a way to end this that doesn't destroy everyone. There's no way to end this. They won't stop until they have everything, and I won't stop until they have nothing. She stood up. Then you're both fools. She went upstairs. I heard the bedroom door close. I sat there alone, drinking wine in the dark, thinking about how everything I'd built, family, business, reputation, was crumbling, and how some part of me didn't care anymore. Some part of me just wanted to burn it all down and watch them scramble in the ashes. Wednesday morning, I got a call from my lawyer. Tom's voice was tight. Victor, Grace filed a civil suit. She's claiming you've been siphoning company funds for personal use. She has documentation showing irregular payments to your personal account. Those are legitimate. My salary, bonuses. She's calling them excessive. Says you've been paying yourself $385,000 annually, while other VPs make $120,000. She's claiming it's embezzlement. I laughed. Couldn't help it. I own the company. That's not how she's framing it. She's saying Marshall Construction is a family business with multiple stakeholders. She's saying you've been abusing your position. Can she win? No, but she can make noise. And right now, noise is all she needs. More clients called that day. More questions, more doubt. By Friday, 5 more accounts had suspended their contracts pending the audit. Ryan sent me an email. Subject line: last chance. Dad, this has gone too far. I'm willing to meet you halfway. I'll explain the RG Ventures expenses. You stop calling clients and spreading lies about me. We figure out a transition plan where you gradually step back and I take over. Everyone wins. Or we keep fighting and destroy everything together. Your choice. Ryan. I deleted it without responding. Evelyn asked me about it that night. I told her I'd deleted it. Why? Because there's no halfway here. There's no compromise. They tried to steal from me. They're trying to ruin me, and I'm going to end them for it. Even if it ends you too? Even then. She didn't argue, just looked sad. Saturday morning, I went to the office early. Started going through every file, every contract, every transaction from the past 5 years, looking for anything Ryan had touched, anything I could use. Found it in a project from 18 months ago, the Riverside development. Ryan had been the lead on it. The project had gone over budget by $180,000. At the time, he'd blamed it on unexpected site issues. But looking at the records now, I could see the overages were in materials costs. Materials that had been ordered through vendors I didn't recognize. I called Tom. I need you to investigate some vendors. I think Ryan was inflating material costs and pocketing the difference. That's a serious accusation. Can you look into it or not? I'll look into it. Sunday, Evelyn went to her sister's house. Didn't ask me to come. I spent the day alone, eating takeout, reviewing documents, building my case. Monday morning, the audit results came back. Linda called me at 7 a.m. Victor, you need to see this. I drove to her office. She had printouts spread across her conference table. Good news first, she said. Your payments to yourself are completely justified. Salary, bonuses, everything's documented and reasonable for a company owner. And the bad news? The RG Ventures transfers are complicated. Ryan claims they were for consulting services. He has contracts, invoices, everything properly documented. But the consultants don't exist. The companies are shell corporations. The addresses are mail drops. It's fraud, Victor. Sophisticated fraud, but fraud. I sat down. How sophisticated? Sophisticated enough that Grace clearly planned it. These aren't amateur mistakes. She knew what she was doing. Can we prove it? With enough investigation, yes. But it'll take time and money. Do it. She nodded. There's something else. The Riverside project. I found what you were looking for. Ryan used 3 fake vendors for material orders. Total overages, $217,000. He pocketed the difference through the same RG Ventures account. So we're looking at over $500,000 in theft? At least, and that's just what I've found so far. I drove back to the office feeling something cold and satisfied settling into place. Not quite happiness, not quite revenge. Something harder and clearer. I called Ryan. We need to meet. Today. Noon. The office. What about? About how you're going to prison if we don't work something out. Silence. Then, I'll be there. I called an emergency meeting with the leadership team. 5 people gathered in the conference room at 2 p.m., all of them looking like they knew what was coming. We need to discuss our options, I started. Options? Our operations manager laughed bitterly. What options? We're hemorrhaging contracts. We've got protesters outside. The banks won't touch us. What options are left? We can still turn this around. How? By magic? By Ryan and Grace suddenly deciding to tell the truth? Victor, I respect you. I've worked for you for 14 years. Silence around the table. No one contradicted him. So what do you want me to do? I asked. Just give up? I want you to consider bankruptcy, Linda said quietly. File Chapter 11. Reorganize. Come out the other side clean. That would destroy us. We're already destroyed. This would at least give us a path forward. No, absolutely not. Then what's your plan? I didn't have one. That was the problem. I'd been so focused on making Ryan and Grace pay that I hadn't thought beyond that, hadn't planned for what happened if the revenge cost me everything. Give me 1 week, I said. 1 week to fix this. 1 week to do what? I don't know yet, but 1 week, that's all I'm asking. They agreed, reluctantly, because what choice did they have? After the meeting, I sat alone in my office, staring at my phone, thinking about the one person I hadn't called yet, the one person who might actually be able to help. I dialed. He answered on the second ring. Victor Marshall, didn't expect to hear from you. Daniel Brenner, my oldest friend. We'd grown up together, started our businesses around the same time. He'd built a real estate empire while I'd built Marshall Construction. We'd helped each other over the years, traded favors, maintained a relationship built on mutual respect. I need advice, I said. About your son? You heard? Everyone's heard. It's all over town. You want my honest opinion? That's why I called. You're handling this wrong. You're letting emotion drive strategy. That never ends well. They stole from me, Daniel. I know, and you have every right to be angry. But anger isn't a business plan. You need to think clearly about what you want the outcome to be. I want them to face consequences. And you're willing to destroy everything you built to make that happen? If that's what it takes. He sighed. Then you're a fool. You know what I would do? I'd negotiate. Find a settlement where they return what they can, sign away their rights to the company, and everyone moves on. You preserve the business, you preserve your reputation, and you don't spend the next year in court. That lets them off easy. It lets everyone survive, including you. I can't do that. Why not? Because they need to understand that actions have consequences. They do understand. They're facing criminal charges. They've lost their positions. They've been publicly humiliated. How much more consequence do they need? Enough that they never do this to anyone else. That's not your job, Victor. Your job is to run your company and protect your employees. Right now, you're failing at both. I hung up, sat there breathing hard, angry that he was right. Tuesday morning, I got a call from an unknown client, small commercial developer I'd done one project with 3 years ago. Mr. Marshall, I heard you might be looking for work. We are. I have a project, small office renovation, $180,000. Interested? It wasn't much, but it was something. Very interested. Great. Can you meet me this afternoon to discuss details? We met, signed the contract. One small project, barely a drop in the bucket of what we needed, but it was a start. I spent the rest of the week hustling, calling old contacts, pitching new ones, offering competitive rates, doing everything I could to bring in revenue. By Friday, I'd secured 3 more small projects. Total value, $520,000. Not enough to save us, but enough to keep us breathing a little longer. Linda was cautiously optimistic. If we can keep this momentum, maybe we can survive. Maybe. You should know, though, people are asking questions about why they should trust us. The publicity is still hurting. What are you telling them? That the issues were isolated to Ryan, that you've always run a clean operation, that Marshall Construction is still the same reliable company it's always been. And are they believing it? Some are, some aren't. Friday night, Evelyn made dinner. First time in 2 weeks we'd sat down together for a meal, chicken, roasted vegetables, wine, normal things feeling abnormal. How was your week? She asked. Better. We got some new contracts. That's good. How about yours? Fine. Quiet. We ate in silence. The distance between us felt like miles. I've been thinking, she said finally, about what comes next, after all this is over. After. When the trial is done. When the dust settles, when we're not living in crisis mode anymore. What about it? She set down her fork. I don't know if I want to stay. Those words hung in the air like a physical thing. Stay where? I asked, though I knew. Here, with you, in this life. Because of Ryan? Because of who you've become during this. Because I've watched you choose revenge over everything else. Over the business, over our relationship, over your own well-being. I'm trying to protect what I built. No, you're trying to destroy them. There's a difference, and I can't watch it anymore. So what are you saying? You want a divorce? I'm saying I need to think about what I want. And right now, what I want is for this to be over, whatever that takes. I can't just drop the charges. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to find a way to move forward, to stop letting this consume you, to remember that there's more to life than winning. Easy for you to say, you're not the one who got betrayed. No, I'm just the one watching my husband destroy himself. Much easier. She got up, started clearing plates. I sat there, feeling everything slipping away. Saturday, I went to the office. Tried to catch up on paperwork, on bids, on all the normal business operations that had been neglected while I'd been fighting this war. Around noon, Tom called. "We need to talk about the trial." "What about it?" "The DA's office is having doubts. Ryan's lawyer is making this complicated. They're claiming mental incompetence, claiming Ryan was acting under your direction, claiming all sorts of things to muddy the waters." "Can they win with that?" "No, but they can create reasonable doubt, make it hard to get a conviction." "So what does that mean?" "It means the DA is considering offering a plea deal. Ryan pleads guilty to a lesser charge, returns whatever money he can, gets probation instead of prison time." "No." "Victor." "I said no. He doesn't get to plead down to nothing. It's not nothing. It's a conviction. It's accountability. It's a slap on the wrist. After everything he did, he gets probation? The alternative is going to trial and possibly losing. You want to risk that?" I thought about it. Thought about what Daniel had said. Thought about what Evelyn had said. Thought about watching everything I'd built crumble while I pursued absolute victory. "How much money would he return?" I asked. "Whatever he can. Probably not all of it, maybe half." "And the probation?" 3 years, no jail time unless he violates terms." "Let me think about it." "You don't have long. They want an answer by Monday." I spent the weekend thinking, barely slept, walked around the house at night, looking at pictures from better times. Ryan as a kid, Ryan graduating college, Ryan's wedding day. All these moments when I'd believed in him, believed in us, believed in a future that was never going to happen. Sunday night, Evelyn found me in my office. "What are you doing?" "Trying to decide." "About the plea deal?" "How did you know?" "Tom called me, asked me to talk to you." "And what do you think?" She sat down. "I think you should take it. He gets away with everything. He doesn't get away with anything. He loses his career, his reputation, his relationship with you. He gets a criminal record. He lives with this for the rest of his life. That's not nothing. But he doesn't go to prison. And you get to keep your company. You get to move on. You get to stop living in this anger." "I don't know if I can." "Then learn, because the alternative is losing everything. The business, me, your own sense of who you are. Is revenge worth that?" I didn't answer, didn't know what to say. Monday morning, I called Tom. "Accept the plea deal." "Are you sure?" "No, but do it anyway." He called back 2 hours later. "It's done. Ryan pleads guilty to fraud, returns $280,000, 3 years probation. Sentencing is in 6 weeks." I hung up, sat there feeling empty, like I'd lost something I could never get back. Linda came in. "I heard. Are you okay?" "I don't know." "For what it's worth, I think you made the right choice." "Then why does it feel like I lost?" "Because sometimes doing the right thing feels like losing. Doesn't mean it is." Tuesday, the news broke. Ryan Marshall accepts plea deal, admits to fraud. Company founder Victor Marshall declines to press for prison time. The narrative shifted. Some people praised my restraint. Others called me weak. Social media had opinions everywhere. I ignored all of it, focused on work, on rebuilding, on finding new clients and completing existing projects. Slowly, over the next few weeks, things started to stabilize. Contracts stopped getting canceled. New clients started calling. The protesters disappeared. Marshall Construction survived. Barely, but it survived. Evelyn started sleeping in our bedroom again, started talking to me again. Small steps towards something that might eventually feel like normal. But something had changed, something fundamental. The distance between us wasn't going away, it was just becoming part of the landscape. 6 weeks later, I attended Ryan's sentencing hearing. Sat in the back of the courtroom, watching my son stand before a judge and admit to fraud. Watching him get 3 years probation and a criminal record. Grace was there too, didn't look at me. Just held Ryan's hand and cried quietly. After the hearing, Ryan approached me. "Dad, Ryan, I want you to know, I'm sorry. For all of it." I looked at him, tried to find something to say, couldn't. "I know you probably don't believe me," he continued, "but I am. I made mistakes, big ones, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to make up for them. Good luck with that. Do you think we'll ever... is there any chance..." "No." He nodded, like he'd expected that answer. "Okay, I just wanted to say it. For whatever it's worth." He walked away. Grace followed him. I watched them leave, watched my son disappear into a life I would no longer be part of. Evelyn was waiting in the hallway. "How do you feel?" I don't know. Empty, maybe. That's normal. Is it? After something like this? Yes. We drove home in silence. She made dinner, we ate, we went to bed. Everything normal on the surface, everything broken underneath. The next morning, I went to the office determined to move forward, to focus on rebuilding what I could still salvage. That's when I found the email. From Grace. Subject line, "You need to see this." I almost deleted it. Should have deleted it. But something made me open it. Inside was a link to a video. I clicked it. Security footage from the Marshall construction office. Dated 8 months ago. Showing me, at my desk, transferring money from company accounts to my personal account. $50,000, then $75,000, then $100,000. Except I'd never made those transfers. Never even been in the office on those days. The video had been edited, deep-faked, but it looked real, disturbingly real. Below the video was a message. "We have more of these, enough to prove you've been stealing from the company for years. Unless you want this to go public, you'll drop all charges and pay us $500,000. You have 48 hours. I sat there staring at the screen, feeling the last piece of my world crumble. I forwarded the email to Tom immediately. He called back within minutes. "This is extortion." I know. And the video is fake. Obviously fake. Any forensic analyst could prove it. But by the time we prove it, the damage is done. They release this publicly, and everything I've been trying to rebuild gets destroyed. So what do you want to do? I want to end this, permanently. Victor, you need to be very careful here. If you do anything, I'm not going to do anything illegal, but I'm done playing defense. Time to go on offense. I spent Tuesday morning calling in every favor I'd accumulated over 32 years in business. Started with Daniel. I need information on Grace Marshall. Everything you can find, business dealings, financial history, personal connections, anything that might be useful. Victor, what are you planning? I'm planning to protect myself. By doing what? Whatever it takes. He sighed. I'll see what I can find. Next, I called a private investigator I'd worked with years ago on a contractor fraud case. Guy named Frank Brenner. No, Frank Morrison. Ex-cop. Good at finding things people wanted to stay hidden. Frank, I need you to dig into someone for me. Who? Grace Marshall, my daughter-in-law. I need to know everything about her. Where the money went, what she's planning, any vulnerabilities I can exploit. How deep do you want me to go? As deep as it takes. That's going to cost you. I don't care about cost. I care about results. By Wednesday afternoon, I had preliminary reports from both Daniel and Frank. Started reading through them, looking for ammunition. Grace's business history was interesting. 3 failed startups before she married Ryan, each one funded by investors who later accused her of mismanagement. No charges ever filed, but a pattern of questionable financial decisions. Her personal life was cleaner, no criminal record, no scandals. But Frank had found something interesting. She'd been in contact with a business consultant named Jason Webb for the past year. Same consultant she'd claimed was helping Ryan modernize Marshall Construction. Except Jason Webb didn't exist. The consulting company was a shell corporation. The address was a mail drop. Frank had tracked the money from RG Ventures. Some of it had gone to legitimate expenses. But $400,000 had been transferred to an offshore account in Grace's name. I called Tom. I need you to see something. He came to my office. I showed him everything. He read through it carefully. This is good. This shows premeditation. Shows Grace was the mastermind, not Ryan. Can we use it? To do what? The plea deal is done. Ryan's already convicted. But Grace isn't. Can we charge her separately? He thought about it. Maybe, if we can prove she was the primary actor, if we can show Ryan was manipulated. Then let's do it. Victor, think about this. You reopen this case, you're back in the spotlight, back in the news, back in a public battle. Are you sure you want that? What I want is for Grace to face consequences. She's the one who planned this. She's the one who manipulated Ryan. And now she's trying to extort me. So yes, I'm sure. What about Evelyn? What does she think? I hadn't told Evelyn about the extortion email. Hadn't told her I was planning to go after Grace. She'd already made it clear she wanted this to be over. I'll handle Evelyn. Tom looked doubtful, but nodded. I'll talk to the DA, see if they're interested in pursuing new charges. That night, I told Evelyn, showed her the email, the evidence, my plan. She listened in silence. When I finished, she didn't say anything for a long time. You promised me this was over, she finally said. It was over. Then Grace sent this. So you're going to retaliate? Start the whole cycle again? I'm going to protect myself. There's a difference. Is there? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're looking for an excuse to keep fighting. She's extorting me, Evelyn. Then go to the police. Let them handle it. I am. I'm working with Tom, but I'm also going to make sure she faces real consequences this time. And what about us? What about our life? When does that become more important than revenge? After she's dealt with, Evelyn stood up. No, I'm done. I've tried to be patient. I've tried to understand. But you're never going to stop. You're going to chase this until it destroys everything, including us. Evelyn, I want a divorce. The words hit like a physical blow. You don't mean that. I do. I can't live like this anymore. I can't watch you consume yourself with anger and revenge and call it justice. I can't be married to someone who cares more about winning than about anything else. I care about you. No, you care about beating them. That's all you care about. And I'm done being collateral damage. She walked out. I heard her go upstairs, heard drawers opening and closing, heard the sounds of someone packing. I sat there in the living room, in the house we'd shared for 33 years, and felt everything finally breaking apart completely. Thursday morning, I met with the DA. Tom had prepared them for what I had. The lead prosecutor was a woman named Sarah. No, Jennifer Davis. Mid-40s, sharp eyes, reputation for being tough but fair. Mr. Marshall, I understand you have new evidence. I showed her everything. The financial records, the offshore accounts, the fake consulting company, the extortion email. She reviewed it all methodically. This is good work. It definitely shows a pattern of fraudulent behavior. But I need to be honest with you. It's going to be hard to prosecute. Why? Because Ryan already took the plea deal. His lawyer will argue that he was the main perpetrator, that Grace was just helping him. Unless we can definitively prove she was the mastermind, it's her word against yours. What about the extortion? That we can definitely charge, but extortion is separate from the original fraud case. We'd be looking at 2 different prosecutions, 2 different juries. It's complicated. But possible? Possible, yes. Likely to succeed? I'm not sure. What would you need to make it more likely? I'd need Ryan to testify against her, to admit that she planned everything, that he was just following her lead. He won't do that. Then we have a problem. I left the meeting feeling frustrated. Everything pointed to Grace being the real criminal, but proving it legally was going to be nearly impossible without Ryan's cooperation. I called Ryan that afternoon, first time I'd called him since the sentencing. Dad, we need to talk. About what? About Grace, about what she's doing. What are you talking about? She sent me an extortion email, threatening to release fake videos unless I pay her $500,000. Silence. Then, that can't be right. It's right. I have the email. Tom has it. The DA has it. Grace wouldn't. Grace did. And she's using money she stole from my company to fund whatever life she's planning after this is over. Did you know about the offshore account? What offshore account? The one with $400,000 in it. The one in her name only. The one you have no access to. Longer silence. I don't know what you're talking about. Then you should ask your wife. Because while you're facing 3 years probation, she's sitting on a small fortune she stole from both of us. You're lying. Am I? Ask her about Jason Webb Consulting. Ask her about the offshore account. Ask her about what she's planning to do with that money. Then call me back. I hung up. Friday, Ryan called back. His voice was different, quieter, defeated. I asked her. And? She admitted it. All of it. Said she was planning to leave me after this was over. Said she was only staying until the trial was done so it wouldn't look suspicious. I'm sorry. Are you? Because you sound like you're enjoying this. I'm not enjoying anything. I'm just trying to protect myself and make sure she faces consequences. What do you want from me? I want you to testify. Tell the DA that Grace planned everything, that she manipulated you, that you were just following her lead. That would destroy her. She's already destroying you, and she's trying to destroy me. Why are you protecting her? He didn't answer for a long time. Because I love her. She doesn't love you. She's using you. She's always been using you. I know. His voice cracked. I know that now. But I still love her. Ryan, please, help me end this. Testify against her. It's the right thing to do. I'll think about it. He hung up. Saturday, I got a call from Grace. Her voice was cold. You told Ryan about the account. I told him the truth. You're trying to turn him against me? I don't have to try. You did that yourself. If you think he's going to testify against me, you're wrong. He loves me. He'll never betray me. He already betrayed me, for you. Maybe he's starting to realize that was a mistake. You're a bitter, angry old man who can't accept that he lost. That's all this is. You lost, and you can't handle it. I didn't lose anything. I'm still standing, still running my company, still moving forward. Where will you be when this is over? Prison, maybe? She laughed. You can't prove anything. Ryan won't testify. The DA won't prosecute. And in 48 hours, if you don't pay me, those videos go public. So who really lost here? She hung up. I sat there thinking. She was right about one thing. Without Ryan's testimony, prosecuting her would be nearly impossible. And if those videos went public, even if I could eventually prove they were fake, the damage would be done. I had 48 hours. 2 days to figure out how to end this. I spent Saturday night in my office, going through everything again, looking for something I'd missed. Some angle I hadn't considered, found it around midnight. The offshore account was in Grace's name, but the transfers had come from RG Ventures, which was a joint account, which meant Ryan had access to the transaction records, which meant if I could get Ryan to authorize a forensic audit of RG Ventures, I could prove Grace had been hiding money from him too. It wasn't much, but it might be enough. Sunday morning, I called Ryan again. What now? I need you to authorize something, a forensic audit of RG Ventures. Why? Because I think Grace has been hiding money from you too, and if we can prove it, we can show a pattern of deception, show that she was manipulating both of us. Even if that's true, why would I help you? Because she's going to leave you. She already told you that. So what do you have to lose? My dignity? Whatever's left of it? You lost that when you started stealing from me. Now you have a chance to do something right, to help hold her accountable, to maybe salvage something from this mess. He was quiet for a long time. Then, send me the paperwork. I'll think about it. I sent it immediately. Spent the rest of Sunday waiting. No word from Ryan. Monday morning. 24 hours until Grace's deadline. Still no word. I went to the office. Tried to work. Couldn't focus. Just kept checking my phone, waiting for Ryan to call. At 3 p.m., my email pinged. Authorization form from Ryan. Signed, notarized. I called Frank immediately. I need a forensic audit of RG Ventures. Fast. How fast? Today. Can you do it? It'll cost you. I don't care. Just do it. He called back at 6 p.m. You're not going to believe this. Try me. The offshore account is just the start. Grace has been moving money around for 18 months. She's got accounts in 3 different countries. Total amount, over $800,000. Jesus. And get this. She's been planning to leave Ryan for at least a year. I found emails between her and a divorce lawyer discussing strategy. Can you document all of this? Already done. Sending you the report now. I forwarded everything to Tom and the DA. Called them both. This changes things, Jennifer said. With this evidence, I can definitely prosecute, and I think I can win. How long before you file charges? I can have her arrested tomorrow. Do it. Tuesday morning. Grace's deadline. I was supposed to wire $500,000 to an account she'd specified, or she'd release the fake videos. I didn't wire anything. Instead, at 9 a.m., I got a call from Tom. They arrested her. Where? At her house. She's being booked now on charges of fraud, embezzlement, and extortion. I sat back in my chair, felt something unknot in my chest. What about Ryan? He's cooperating, gave a full statement about how Grace manipulated him, how she planned everything. He's trying to get his sentence reduced. Will it work? Maybe. He's being useful. That counts for something. I hung up. Sat there for a minute, trying to process that it was actually over. Linda knocked on my door. I heard. Is it true? It's true. So what happens now? Now we rebuild. For real this time. Over the next few days, the story broke. Grace Marshall arrested for fraud and extortion. Husband cooperating with authorities. Victor Marshall vindicated. The narrative shifted again. Now I was the victim who'd fought back. The business owner who'd refused to let corruption destroy what he'd built. Clients started calling, some of them apologetic, wanting to restart their contracts, others just curious about what had really happened. I took the calls, answered questions, started rebuilding relationships, but the satisfaction I'd expected to feel never came. Instead, I just felt tired, hollow. Evelyn came home Thursday. We hadn't spoken since she'd asked for the divorce. I heard about Grace, she said. Yeah. How do you feel? I don't know. Relieved, maybe, but mostly just empty. She sat down across from me. I meant what I said, Victor, about the divorce. I know. But I want you to understand why. It's not about Grace or Ryan or any of this. It's about who you became during this. Someone I didn't recognize. Someone who cared more about revenge than about anything else. I was protecting what I built. You were destroying yourself, and everyone around you, and you couldn't see it. Maybe, but it's over now. I can move forward. Can you? Because I'm not sure you know how. I'm not sure you know how to exist without something to fight against. I'll figure it out. I hope so, for your sake. She stood up, started to leave, stopped at the doorway. I'm staying with my sister for a while, taking some time to think about what I want. When I decide, I'll let you know. Evelyn. Goodbye, Victor. She left. I heard the car start, heard her drive away. I sat there in our empty house in the silence and realized that winning felt a lot like losing. Friday, Ryan called. First time he'd called voluntarily in months. Dad? Ryan. I wanted to thank you for the evidence you found. It's helping my case. Good. And I wanted to apologize. Really apologize. Not just say the words, but mean them. I was wrong about everything. I let Grace manipulate me. I betrayed you. I nearly destroyed everything you built, and I'm sorry. Okay. Is that all you have to say? Okay? What do you want me to say, Ryan? That I forgive you? That everything's fine now? I can't do that. I know. I wanted you to know I'm trying to be better, to fix what I broke. You can't fix this. It's broken permanently. So there's no chance we'll ever... No, there's no chance. You're my son, and I hope you find a way to build a decent life. But you and I, we're done. I understand. Do you? Yeah, I do, and I'm sorry for that too. He hung up. I sat there looking at my phone, thinking about all the times I'd imagined him taking over the company, all the plans I'd made for a future that would never happen. The next few weeks passed in a blur of routine, work, home, sleep, repeat. Grace's trial was scheduled for 3 months out. The DA was confident of a conviction. Ryan was cooperating fully, which meant his probation might get reduced to 1 year. Marshall Construction was stabilizing. Not thriving, not yet, but surviving. We'd replaced most of the lost contracts with new clients. Revenue was slowly climbing back to where it needed to be, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd lost something bigger than I'd won. Linda noticed, came into my office one afternoon with coffee. You've been quiet lately. Just focused on work? No, it's more than that. You seem, I don't know, defeated? I'm not defeated. We won. Did we? Because you don't look like someone who won. I didn't answer, didn't know what to say. She sat down. Victor, I've worked for you for 15 years, and in that time, I've seen you fight through recessions, bad projects, difficult clients. You always bounce back. But this broke something in you. Maybe it did. So what are you going to do about it? I don't know. Keep working, I guess. What else is there? There's life outside of work, family, relationships, things that matter beyond contracts and revenue. My family is gone. My wife wants a divorce. What relationships are left? The ones you haven't destroyed yet. It's not too late to rebuild. Isn't it? She stood up. That's for you to figure out. But I hope you do. Because winning isn't worth much if you lose everything that matters in the process. She left. I sat there thinking about what she'd said. That night, I called Evelyn. Hi, she answered, cautious. Hi, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? I don't know, not fine. What's wrong? Everything. Nothing. I won, Evelyn. Grace is facing trial. Ryan's cooperating. The company is stabilizing. I got everything I wanted. And I feel worse than I did when all this started. She was quiet for a moment. That's because you spent so long focused on revenge that you forgot what you were actually fighting for. What was I fighting for? I don't know. That's something you have to figure out. I thought I was fighting to protect what I built, to hold people accountable, to make sure they understood actions have consequences. And did they? Yeah, they did. So why do you still feel empty? Because none of it matters. The business is saved, but it's just a business. Grace is going to prison, but that doesn't undo what she did. Ryan apologized, but that doesn't fix our relationship. I won every battle and lost the war. What war? The war to have a life worth living, a family, a purpose beyond just surviving. She sighed. Victor, I can't tell you how to fix this. I can't tell you how to find meaning or purpose or whatever you're looking for. That's work you have to do yourself. Will you help me? I don't know. I'm still figuring out if I want to stay married to you. That's a separate question from whether I want to help you find yourself. Fair enough. But I will say this. You need to stop running. Stop fighting. Stop looking for the next battle. At some point, you have to just sit with yourself and figure out who you are when you're not at war. And if I don't like who that is, then you change. That's the point. We talked for another hour. Not about the divorce, not about Grace or Ryan, just about life, about what mattered, about what came next. It didn't fix anything, but it was a start. The next morning, I went to the office with a different mindset, not focused on revenge or winning or fighting, just focused on doing good work, on treating people well, on building something worth building. It felt strange. After months of operating in crisis mode, normal felt almost uncomfortable, but I pushed through it, started delegating more to my team, started trusting people to do their jobs without micromanaging, started actually leaving the office at reasonable hours. Linda noticed. This is different. Good different or bad different? Good. You seem more like yourself. Who was I before? Someone who cared about the work, not just about winning. I thought about that. Realized she was right. 2 weeks later, Grace's lawyer reached out. They wanted to negotiate a plea deal. She'll plead guilty to fraud and return whatever money she still has, Tom told me. In exchange, they want the extortion charges dropped. How much money does she have left? About $600,000. The rest got spent on legal fees and living expenses. And prison time? 3 to 5 years. She'd serve at least 2. I thought about it. 2 years wasn't much, but it was something. And getting $600,000 back would help the company significantly. Tell them I'll agree to the plea deal on one condition. What's that? She has to publicly admit what she did. Full confession, no hedging, no excuses. She admits she planned the fraud, she manipulated Ryan, she tried to extort me. She'll never agree to that. Then no deal. She can take her chances at trial. Tom called back 2 days later. She agreed. The public confession happened a week later. Press conference with Grace, her lawyer, and the DA. She stood at a podium and read a prepared statement. I want to take responsibility for my actions. I planned and executed a scheme to defraud Marshall Construction. I manipulated my husband, Ryan Marshall, into participating. I attempted to extort money from Victor Marshall. I am guilty of all these charges, and I accept full responsibility. She wouldn't look at the cameras. Just read the statement in a monotone and left immediately after. The media loved it. Grace Marshall confesses to fraud. Headlines everywhere. I watched it on the news, felt nothing, no satisfaction, no vindication, just emptiness. That night, Evelyn came home, not to stay, just to pick up some things. We sat at the kitchen table, drinking coffee like civilized strangers. I saw Grace's confession, she said. Yeah. How do you feel? Empty. That's probably healthy. Is it? You spent months consumed by this. Now it's over. The emptiness is just space where all that anger and obsession used to be. You have to figure out what to fill it with. What should I fill it with? That's not for me to say. Evelyn, I know you want a divorce. I know I've given you every reason, but before you make that final, I want to ask, is there any chance, any possibility of us working through this? She looked at me for a long time. I don't know, Victor. I really don't. Part of me still loves you, still remembers the man I married 33 years ago. But part of me doesn't recognize you anymore, doesn't know if I want to spend the rest of my life with the person you've become. What if I change? What if I become someone you recognize again? That's a big if. People don't change easily, especially not people like you who are so certain they're right. I'm not certain anymore about anything. That's a start. She finished her coffee, stood up. I'm going to stay at my sister's for another month. Take some real time to think. And I want you to do the same. Not think about us or our marriage. Think about yourself. Figure out who you are, who you want to be. Then we'll talk. Okay. She left. I sat there alone again, with my empty house and my empty victory and my empty life.